Hello, my name is Vinaya Kurpad and this video is an introduction to CoolGrad. CoolGrad Infotech Private Limited is a company registered in Bangalore, and this website, CoolGrad.com, is meant to serve as a platform for people to share their higher education experiences. CoolGrad.com consists of hundreds of videos of higher education advice for students who are planning to go abroad for higher studies. So I'm going to talk all about CoolGrad and how it was founded and what is the purpose of this website and how to navigate this website and how to use the content in this website effectively and who it's meant for and how it's different from other websites that are similar to CoolGrad. And we're also going to talk about various different ways in which you can help make CoolGrad successful and how millions of people can benefit from the videos that are here. So a little bit about myself. So my name is Vinaya Kurpad. Once again, I'm a software professional and entrepreneur living in the California Bay Area near San Jose. And I grew up in Bangalore. I studied in 2 different universities in the United States. I graduated with an MBA from the University of Arizona in 2011. And before that, I was studying a master's in computer science. And I observed and learned from various different students, people, hundreds of people from different universities who came abroad for higher studies and made a lot of really costly mistakes. So I decided to provide hundreds of hours of videos of comprehensive advice for people going abroad so that they don't make the same mistakes that we made. So basically, it was like, I wanted to provide free advice to a lot of people. So even the poorest of students in the remotest villages of India and other countries must be able to have access to all these really important bits of advice. So there's advice about writing a statement of purpose and how to shortlist universities, what it's like to study in different countries, and how to pack your bags and what do you do when you land abroad, how to pick the right advisor, the right programs, all this kind of really interesting stuff. So I noticed that in India the career counseling agencies charge usually a lot of money. I mean, some of them are free for like some countries if they have tie-up with the universities in those countries, but for most of the countries they charge an exorbitant amount of money. So usually they charge somewhere between like $500 to $2,000 just to help them shortlist universities and apply and get some basic visa guidance. So I basically put up most of this stuff here for free. And at least it's initially going to be free. So I'm going to talk about how CoolGrad came about and how we developed this website and what is the vision we have for it going forward. So what is CoolGrad all about? So it's a website which has video guidance for students who are planning to study abroad. So there's hundreds of hours of videos about different programs like what is an MS, what is an MIS, what is MBA, what is a PhD, how they're different from each other, what it's like to study in each state of so many different countries, and how to shortlist universities, all these videos which students can sit at home, relax and watch with their family members and friends. And they don't have to pay anything for this, at least not initially. So it's also a platform for students who have graduated from various different universities to share their experiences. So suppose that you're a student in India and you've applied to like 8 different universities in the US and you got admission in 4 different universities, and you're thinking about which offer to take or something like that. So then you can listen to a lot of experiences from dozens of students who graduated from these different universities, and you can make a better informed decision about which university to pick. Because most students usually pursue a master's degree only once in a lifetime, at the most twice in a lifetime usually. And it's important to pick the right university, the right program, and to get funding and to graduate successfully. So these videos are meant to serve as guidelines for millions of students all over the world. So there's also a section about faculty members who they can share their experiences in the admissions committee while teaching courses and what they expect from students, etc. And there's also a section called Find Your Passion, which talks about how different people have excelled in different professions other than engineering, how they found their passion in life and pursued it successfully. So these are some of the different types of content we have on CoolGrad.com. There's program guidance videos. So there's so many different programs. It's like there's MS, in computer science or engineering, for example. You can do an MS in computer science, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, civil engineering. You can do an MS, Master of Science, or MBA, Master of Business Administration, in which you can, again, study either marketing or finance or entrepreneurship or HR or accounting, and so many different fields. And then there is MIS, Masters of Information Systems. And in that, if you want, you can again specialize in business informatics, business intelligence, or like project management, or IT security, or things like that. And there's a PhD. We can do a PhD in any of these disciplines or some other discipline too. And there's JD, Juris Doctor, which is a law program. And there's MD, so that's Doctor of Medicine. So, and there's also so many different dual degree programs which I talk about. So I talk about what it's like to study each of these programs. What are the courses you typically study in these master's programs or a PhD program, and what is the career path you can pursue after graduating from these programs. For example, if you do a master's in computer science, what are the courses that are typically studied in an MS in computer science, and what is the career path you can take after that, and how is MBA in marketing different from MBA in entrepreneurship, and how is that different from an MBA in finance. So we talk about what courses you study and what career path you can follow once you study each of these programs. And in fact, a lot of students, I realize, they don't know the difference between like MS, MBA, MIS. So they just pick something because their friends pick it, or maybe somebody advised them or something. They really don't know. And in fact, to tell you the truth, after pursuing an MS for a while, and then I graduated with an MBA, and then I realized MIS would have probably been more useful for me in the IT industry. So I made a lot of costly mistakes. A lot of my friends made a lot of mistakes. They did this by trial and error. And I want the people who are watching this video to make better informed decisions. So we talk about the program structure and courses in each of these programs, what career paths you could follow after graduating from these programs, studying in each of the popular countries. Like initially I started with 6 different countries. So there's USA, UK, Canada, Germany, Singapore, Australia, and eventually I plan to add more countries like Japan, China, New Zealand, France, Italy, etc. So we're going to talk about what it's like to study in each state of USA, for example, and also each of these other countries. We're going to talk about the weather conditions, the cost of living, the universities, and what is the funding situation like, and what scholarships the university gives, and we talk about everything you need to know to study in these countries. So basically, a lot of students are confused about which country to pursue higher education in. Should I go to Germany, or should I rather go to Canada? Or my friend is in Australia, but then my uncle's in the United States. Where should I rather go? They really don't have all the information they need. So in my videos, we're going to talk about like a comparison, talking about the pros and cons of studying in each of these different countries, the visas, the immigration process, permanent residency, and so many different things. So we also talk about GRE GMAT exam preparation videos. Did I miss a slide? So there's going to be a lot of videos about preparation for GRE, GMAT, and TOEFL exams, which are like mandatory exams that you need to max if you have to get admission to a top-notch university for your master's or PhD program. So I myself did very well in both GRE and GMAT exams. I had a 760 on 800 in my GMAT in the first attempt. And there's going to be videos about preparation for the verbal section and the quantitative section, and also the analytical writing section. So in the verbal section, we have videos about synonyms, antonyms, analogies, sentence completion and correction, reading comprehension, critical reasoning, figures of speech, parts of speech, roots of words, origins of words, phrases, etc. So there's very comprehensive videos about idioms and all these really interesting things, everything that you need to know for a GRE. And I'm putting up all these videos for free, at least initially. So I basically have a vision that people all over the world must be able to get all this information for free. Quantitative section. There's videos about data sufficiency problems, logic problems, geometry, algebraic equations, probability, permutations and combinations, ratios and proportions, arithmetic progressions, trigonometry, etc. And there's guidelines about how to max the analytical writing section too. So currently people pay like thousands of rupees or even hundreds of dollars for the GRE GMAT preparation. So sometimes they attend classes, sometimes they borrow iPads and go over the exam preparation material and then return it. They go through a lot of hassles, but basically I'm putting up all these videos up here for free. I put in a lot of thought in preparing the content for these videos, and I try to make them as comprehensive and useful as possible. So basically people can sit at home and watch them again and again and again. So with their friends and their family members. That's really the mission I have. So there's application guidance videos. So CoolGrad has hundreds of hours of advice, and out of them, and a very important section is the application advice. So I have videos about how to write a statement of purpose. A statement of purpose, is a very important personal document in an application. And a lot of students, even in the United States, I realize they don't know how to write a good statement of purpose. So I did a lot of research and prepared very comprehensive videos about do's and don'ts while writing a statement of purpose. And I also have step-by-step procedures how to write a statement of purpose for different programs, and also sample SOPs. So we also have videos about how to write a cover letter, how to write a resume, and how to get recommendation letters, do's and don'ts, how people have screwed up their recommendation letters, all these really important videos. There's also videos about how to fill out an application, what are all the hundreds of mistakes that people could possibly make, and also about how to mail your application. So sometimes people submit the application online, and if they're mailing a physical copy, you'd be surprised to know there was once a student from India who mailed all his documents to a university in the US, and he didn't use a strong enough envelope, and the envelope got ripped apart while in transit, and the university received just a blank envelope and all the documents had fallen off. So I'm going to talk about hundreds of mistakes that people have made, and I hope these videos serve as guidelines for people so you don't make the same mistake. Visa guidance videos. So I have a lot of guidance about how to schedule your visa interviews, and what to say, what not to say in the visa interview, what to carry to the visa interview, what is the difference between an embassy and a consulate, and how people have screwed up their chances by saying the wrong things or dressing the wrong way for a visa interview. And it's all about visa interview guidance. And there's also going to be a lot of videos from different students about their experiences in applying for visas. Academic guidance videos. So I have a bunch of videos about funding and scholarship guidance, and how to excel in academics at the university. So once you're here, which programs to pick, which advisor to pick, and what all mistakes people have made, whether it's regarding academic integrity or how people were caught cheating and what happened after that. And it's all about do's and don'ts, so you graduate with a 4.0 GPA and excel at academics once you're at the university. There's internships and job search advice. Where to look for internships, what kind of internships are good, and where to find jobs, how to network, what to say, what not to say in the interviews, all these things. Academic and job interview guidance. So answering interviews in the Western countries is very different from answering interviews in India. So I have a whole video about how to answer interviews. Common and uncommon mistakes made by people abroad, and why students fail to graduate. So I listed about 24 different reasons as to why students fail to graduate successfully from a master's or PhD program. A master's program might be only 1 year or 2 years long, and it seems like really easy, but a lot of people fail to graduate for various reasons. Some people think that all dropouts like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, they think that all dropouts become really great. But that's not true. They become college dropouts without a degree and also without a proper job. And then some people get into depression, some people run out of money, and some people get in conflicts with their advisors or teammates. Some people get caught in academic dishonesty. So there might be different reasons as to why students fail to graduate, and I have a whole video about that, just so you don't make the same mistakes that other students have made. There's hundreds of real student experiences videos from students who graduated from various universities in various countries. So if you're applying to these universities and you hear the experiences of people who've just graduated, it would give you a lot of insider information and advice. So you'd know what exactly the situation is at the university. Faculty advice videos from professors of various departments and universities, which can serve as very important guidelines for students who are applying to those universities. There's general guidance videos about housing and roommates advice, so hundreds of real people's experiences. Do's and don'ts, how to pick a good apartment, how to pick good roommates, do's and don'ts, how to be safe, and all the problems that roommates can cause. It can actually be hilarious. I have whole videos about those. Driving abroad and auto insurance, so what it's like to drive in different countries, how is it different from driving in India. Healthcare abroad, travel tips, health insurance like in the United States, without insurance, you're screwed if you fall sick. So it's about how to pick the right kind of health insurance and what kind of problems people have had. It's all about the mistakes that people have made, just so you don't make the same mistakes. Geographical videos for each state in the USA, Canada, UK, Germany, Australia, Singapore, etc. with pros and cons of studying in various countries and universities. Later on we might add more countries to this list. So for every state in Canada, every state in Germany, every state in the United States, I have a video. For example, like say Texas, what are all the universities in Texas and what are their rankings of each department? And there's also these top university lists, so you can see what the annual tuition is, what the starting salary is for people who graduated from each department, and what is the program duration, what kind of scholarships they offer, and what is the cost of living, what is the weather, what is it like to study at that university. So I have these really useful and informative videos about studying in different states of different countries. IT project related videos. So I have a bunch of videos about how to excel in the IT software industry. So I've been a software professional myself. I worked as a project manager, agile coach, QA manager, in different types of roles and designations, and I carried a wealth of experience over years. And I have really good comprehensive videos about quality assurance, complete everything you need to know about manual testing and defect management. Currently a lot of consultancies, QA trainers, they charge about like at least $500 per head to offer, manual QA training. And I put up this whole stuff over here, all these videos for free. So if there are a lot of like housewives, students, they try to get into QA in the IT industry if they don't have too much IT experience. And for anyone who wants to brush up their knowledge of QA, I have one video about complete manual testing best practices. So how to execute testing, different phases of testing, how to write good test cases, how to execute test cases, what is automated testing, etc. And there's another video about defect management. So how to log defects, how to conduct bug triages, what is the bug life cycle, all this stuff. And there's another video about agile best practices and Scrum Master training. So implementing a project using agile methodology is very different from implementing a project using waterfall traditional methodology. So, agile project managers or Scrum Masters are a lot of demand in the IT industry, and I used to be an agile coach and Scrum Master myself. I still am, in fact. So I used to train a lot of candidates to become Scrum Masters, and I would typically charge like around $1,000 per head. And here I'm putting up the entire Agile Best Practices training video for free. So everything you need to know about how to practically implement an Agile software project. So what are the different roles in the project? What does the Scrum Master do? What does the project manager do? What does the business analyst do? What does the QA person do? What do developers do? What does the release engineer do? So there's all these roles and responsibilities, how to do sprint planning, what are the pre-sprint activities, post-sprint activities, in-sprint activities, how to conduct scrum calls, how to conduct sprint demos and retrospectives, and why agile projects fail, and everything you need to know about agile methodology from a practical standpoint, including how to use some tools like Rally or Jira or TFS. So this is a really useful video for people who plan to work in the IT industry. And then there's videos about how IT projects are implemented, so a lot of engineering students can benefit from that. And then there's a whole video about change management process. So what are change requests, what are enhancement requests, how to do the change management, levels of escalation, how to deal with rejected change requests, and all these change management videos. So people are paying hundreds of dollars to get this training, and essentially I'm putting up all the stuff here for free. And I hope it's going to benefit millions of people. That's really what I want. And if any of you would like to submit any of your videos on, say, business intelligence best practices or project management best practices, if you have a wealth of experience and you have a video to submit, feel free to submit it to us and reach out to us. Find your passion videos. So find your passion series of videos to guide students about how to pursue a career in various fields. So most of you might have watched this movie, 3 Idiots. It's a famous Hindi movie from a few years ago. It talks about how the most brilliant students don't have to study only engineering or medicine. They can follow anything they like. So if your passion is in wildlife, or your passion is in music or dance, this section profiles hundreds of people who have graduated from various different disciplines. So we're going to talk about how somebody identified their passion to be dance and how they pursued it. What program did they pursue, where did they graduate from, and where do they work, and how much money do they make, and how they truly pursued their passion. If somebody wanted to become a chef, what courses can they study, and how did they pursue their passion? There's also different fields like veterinary science, microbiology, physics or chemistry or wildlife, or fine arts or hotel management, spirituality. Some people I know, they quit their careers in engineering and turned to spirituality. Some of them became monks, sannyas, and some of them, they just worked for like spiritual organizations like the Art of Living or Isha Foundation. They work in the IT department. They work in so many different roles. How they combined their passion for spirituality with their skill set. And I know people who's completely switched careers. Like one of my uncles, he had a colleague who was an assistant professor of mechanical engineering. At around the age of 40, he had saved up enough money, and this guy went and did an MD, and he became a doctor. So it's about how people identified their passion and pursued it successfully. So just because you spent a few years of your life studying engineering, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life. It's about helping people identify their true passion in life and to pursue it successfully. So how did CoolGrad come to be? So basically, I made a lot of mistakes when I was pursuing higher education abroad. I picked the wrong university to some extent. Like for my MBA, I could have gone to Wharton or Harvard. I had the best grades and best GMAT score, but still, one thing, I didn't want to spend $100,000 on MBA. And I went to the University of Arizona, where I had a complete scholarship and graduate teaching assistantship, and I didn't spend more than about $700 for my MBA. But in retrospect, if I had my life to live over again, I would probably go to Wharton. You don't go there just for the quality of education, it's for the networking opportunity. And to encash the brand name, it would have probably been worth it. Or I would probably go to a top-notch university in Europe where you can get an MBA from a top-notch university for free. So I didn't know any better when I was applying for my MBA, and I want students to be better equipped. So it's also about identifying which program is good. After pursuing MS for a while and then graduating with an MBA, I realized MIS would have been more useful for me because I wanted to be in the management role in the IT industry. So it's about all these mistakes that people have made. And even though I went to a career counselor, I was misguided twice. First time I went to a university in Michigan for a master's in computer science, which was like a really cold, godforsaken place. And the university wasn't very highly ranked either. I had admission in a much higher ranked university in Washington, D.C. But nobody was there to give me the right kind of advice, even though I paid a lot of money for it. So I screwed up once. And the second time, I applied to MBA to 4 universities in the US, a few universities where my chances were really good. I had a 760 on 800 in my GMAT. But I didn't get it in those universities, even though they had good funding and stuff, because I think some of the documents were not in the right format. And I made some costly mistakes, which I talk about in my videos. So even though I had the best grades and credentials, I still screwed up twice. You pursue a master's degree usually once in a lifetime, and I don't want you to screw up. So even though I paid thousands of rupees to a career counselor, I was still misguided and I made a lot of mistakes. So basically I'm talking about all the mistakes that I've seen hundreds of people make, so that you don't make the same mistakes. And this website only gives you generic guidelines and talks about all the mistakes that people have made. And you can use this at your own discretion. I mean, you don't have to believe everything we say. But these are actual incidents that have actually happened to people. That's usually what we talk about. And you can be wise and learn based on other people's experiences. So, we made a lot of mistakes when it came to housing, roommates, internships, funding, choice of courses. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned by trial and error. And I would like these videos to be a good source of information for prospective students. So every time I visited India, I would have dozens of people who would approach me. So my parents' friends' children, my neighbors, my sister's friends, and friends of friends, and distant relatives, they would all come to me asking for advice on a variety of topics. Whether it came to which country to go for higher studies to, or which program to pursue, or how to pack your bags, or which airlines to book tickets in. I've had all kinds of queries. So basically every time I visited India, I was spending at least about 10 hours minimum on every visit to guide people. It's not that these people were not well educated. Some of them were highly well educated, brilliant, but it's just that they didn't have much exposure. So one of my neighbors, his son was going abroad and he didn't know what size of suitcase to buy. He bought a suitcase and he didn't know whether it was like the acceptable size. So I'm saying, even though they're highly educated people, they probably just don't know where to look for the right information. So starting from the minutest details such as those, and we have details about which program to pursue and which country to pursue it in, and the pros and cons, and visa guidance, and application guidance, and everything you need to know, basically. So I was anyway spending all this time advising people, so I thought, why not make a bunch of videos and put it up here on this website, so millions of people could benefit from it. So that's how it really came about. I realized that a lot of these career counseling agencies were holding all this information proprietary, and they were still not giving the students all the information they really need to know. So I thought I could pitch in and help. I noticed there is no single source on the internet where students can find the top 100 university lists for various countries in various disciplines. So if you wanted to know which are the top 100 universities in the US, you'd probably go to the US News or Princeton Review, and you have to search for it. And if you wanted to know the top universities of UK, you would go to the Guardian website or some other website. And for Australia, you'd go to some other site. Canada, you'd go to some other site. I mean, you have to really search. I want CoolGrad to be one place where there's comprehensive top 100 university lists of every country, which is like a popular destination for students going abroad. So there's very detailed information starting from the top 100 universities, the city and state in which they're located, and the annual tuition, the program duration, the starting salary after graduation, the acceptance rate, average undergraduate GPA, and then the average GRE or GMAT scores, and a link to the department website. So it's like really comprehensive, much more than what any of these individual sources provide. So I've collected information mostly from the university websites and a lot of sources on the internet, and provided, we prepared these really elaborate top university lists. And you can actually help us improvise on these lists. If you think some data needs to be updated, or something's wrong, you can always give us suggestions. And if you have some more data that we can use to fill in the tables, please feel free to submit it to us. It's like one source, one website where you can see the top university lists of different programs, different disciplines of different countries, all in one place. So that's, I think, going to be really useful for students. So I think it would be really cool if students, prospective students who are thinking about going abroad, can sit at home, relax, and with their parents and their grandparents and their friends and their cousins, watch videos about what it's like to study abroad, and listen to people's experiences, and make a better informed decision about which program to pursue from which university. So CoolGrad versus career guidance agencies. So a lot of students might be thinking, I'm already paying anywhere from about 30,000 rupees to 100,000 rupees, or 1 lakh. That's about $400 to $2,000 to a lot of these career guidance agencies. Like, there's so many popular agencies in India. There's Advice, there's Visu Consultancies, there's so many career guidance agencies. And you might be thinking, why should I watch these CoolGrad videos if I'm already paying money to these career guidance agencies, which are very well established and they've been around for decades? So basically, the content on CoolGrad is really, really comprehensive. I'm offering you probably 100 times more than what these career guidance agencies offer. So if you're going to any of these career guidance agencies, you must have already decided which country you want to go to, mostly. You would have already decided you want to go to the United States, for example, and you would already decided which program to pursue. So you already decided you want to do an MS in mechanical engineering, or an MBA, or MIS. You should have already decided. And you should have also already taken your GRE GMAT exam. So very few agencies offer preparation for these GRE GMAT exams. So suppose you've already decided which country to go to, which program to pursue, and and you've already taken your GRE GMAT and you have the scores, and then you go to the career agencies mostly. That's what most students do, not necessarily all of them, but most of them. Then they tell you how to shortlist 6 to 8 universities based on your criteria and your student profile. They identify 6 to 8 universities which are good for you, and then they help you give you basic application guidance. So how to write, statement of purpose, and a cover letter, and how to write your resume, and how to attach your transcripts and stuff. They don't give you as much detail as I give in my videos, and if you watch my videos, you'll know for yourself. So you can write a really good statement of purpose after watching my videos on guidance. So they help you with basic application preparation, and they also help you with basic visa guidance. So what I'm trying to advise you is much more than this. It's about, should you pursue an MS or an MIS or an MBA in the first place? What is the difference between these programs? And if you'd rather do a dual degree program, for example, you probably won't have to pay anything. Like, for example, if you do a JD PhD dual degree program, you won't have to pay anything for the JD program. And there's universities which offer complete scholarship for an MD program in the United States. So I talk about all these unique, interesting scholarships, how to make it less expensive, and how to write a really good resume, how to get really good recommendation letters, and all the mistakes that people have made in the process. And we also talk about visa guidance. So basically, I give you what the career guidance agencies give you, plus 100 times more. We talk about what it's like to study in each of these universities in each of these countries, and do a pros and cons evaluations. And you can also hear a lot of first-hand experiences of people who graduated from these universities. So after watching these videos on advice, if you still want to have one-on-one counseling from a counselor for your specific profile, you could still go to a coach. But you'll still be better equipped to make the right choices, and you'll probably end up paying much less to these personalized coaches. So what career guidance agencies may not always advise you about, they probably won't tell you the difference between these programs. They probably won't tell you what career paths you can pursue after graduating from these programs. Then they don't tell you the pros and cons of each programs. They don't tell you much about dual degree programs. and they don't probably won't tell you too much about pros and cons of studying in different countries. So and they don't really tell you how to write an excellent statement of purpose. So you write your statement of purpose, at the most they might critique it for you a couple of times, but it's still, the student may not really have all the information he needs to write a fantastic, eye-catching statement of purpose. So watch my videos about these and you'll know for yourself. And so what about like how to pack your bags? And once you land at the university here, the career agencies, they don't care anymore, right? So what do you do when you land here? How to get a social security number, how to pick housing, roommates, how to pick the right courses, how to excel in the academics, how to pick internships, jobs, how to graduate with a 4.0 GPA, and how to crack interviews. I have videos about all these things. And after you go to the IT industry, you must know even if you're a developer or a project manager, whatever, you must know about the roles and responsibilities of different team members. You must know what developers do, what QA people do, what business analysts do, what is an agile project. So I have videos about all these things. And I'm going to talk about all the common and uncommon mistakes that people have made and why people fail, just so you don't make the same mistakes. So, as I said, this is again about what CoolGrad gives you. I give you what the career agencies give you and 100 times more. And it's mostly going to be free. So initially I'm going to have it free, and later on, I don't know, we might charge a nominal fee if it is required to maintain the website. But my plan is to have it free, you know, so millions of people can benefit from it. So, also a lot of these career guidance agencies have tie-ups with universities abroad. Sometimes they might give you free counseling, but remember, the way it works is like a lot of these universities have a tie-up with these career counseling agents, and when the agent sends a student to this university, the agent career counselor gets a commission. So they may not always have the best interest of the students in mind. If they send a student there, they get their commission. So they might actually, you know, suggest lower ranked universities to the student because they might have their own vested interest. They might want their commissions. But here, I don't have any vested interest, and this is all about, you know, providing selfless service to people. So I've seen a lot of career counseling agencies, you know, when they're helping universities shortlist, they're helping students to shortlist universities, 6 to 8 universities, they would usually pick 2 universities which are pretty low ranked, because they wanted to make sure that the student gets admission in at least 1 university. They don't want the student to go and say, hey, don't go to this career counselor. You know, they made me apply to 8 universities and I didn't get any single university. So they don't want that to happen, and they usually pick at least a couple of low-ranked universities. So there's all these, you know, subtle details that you should probably be aware of. And basically it's all about mistakes that people have made. It's generic guidelines. You could still go to a career counselor if you want to. So we talk about the various ranks of the universities, the funding situations, the, you know, actual experiences of the students who have studied at these universities without any vested interest, with only the vision being to guide students. So we have detailed videos about how to write statements of purpose, and we have videos about application guidance, cover letters, statement of purpose, recommendation letters, resume, how to fill an application, how to mail an application, and so many other different aspects that, you know, that you need to know while applying. Because remember, you apply usually once or at the most twice for like master's program, and it's really important to get everything right, because even one single mistake can screw up your prospects. So there's visa do's and don'ts guidance, and there's guidance about how to shortlist universities based on your preferences, geographical locations, cost of living, your GPA, exam scores, and the funding situation of the university, the ranking of the university. There's all these factors that come into play and will help you shortlist universities. So you get all these hundreds of hours of advice for free, and we hope to keep it free. So even if you pay a very small fraction of the price, it's a small fraction of what these career agencies charge, and it's still probably worth it. So how can we trust CoolGrad content? So most of you don't know me and you don't know CoolGrad. It's a new site, so how can we trust this content? It's about a compilation of real people, real experiences. It's about all these mistakes that people have made. And I myself am talking about my own experiences. I had a 760 on 800 in GMAT, and I've studied in 2 different American universities. I had a very good GPA in my MBA, and I've graduated, and I'm very well placed in the Silicon Valley, and I have a good reputation as a Salesforce program manager and agile coach. And if you talk to at least 40 to 50 of your friends, relatives, etc., who have used career counseling agencies for application guidance, and you realize a few of them would have still screwed up, even after paying thousands of dollars to these career counseling agencies. So my point is, they don't really probably give you everything that you need to know. So we give you generic guidelines, watch the videos, and use the information at your own discretion. CoolGrad has already helped scores of people. A lot of people have already benefited from these videos, and I hope you make the most of this too. And please refer the site to your friends. And if you want to help us make this site more popular and useful, please feel free to submit a video of your higher education experiences, or ask your friends to submit videos. All you have to do is go to CoolGrad.com and click on the submit your video link and upload an experience video. So there's discussion forums where you can chat and discuss with other people about what it's like to study in various universities. There's one discussion forum for each university on CoolGrad.com. So there's top university lists which have very detailed information about all these important factors. And there's all the top university list of different disciplines and different countries in one place. So CoolGrad.com is like your one-stop for higher education guidance in different countries. So I hope you have a good introduction to what CoolGrad.com is all about, and what our vision is, and how you can help make us successful so that we can help millions of people worldwide. And I also talked about who I am and what I'm trying to do and how CoolGrad came about. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at support@coolgrad.com. And I wish you the very best of luck in picking the right program at the right university, at the right country, while pursuing your higher education abroad. You usually pursue a master's or PhD program once in a lifetime, and I really wish you make the best decisions. Thank you.